welcome to FPTV New Releases, and welcome to my special guest and fellow Northwesterner, Una McCormack. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing very, very well indeed. Always nice to find a fella woolly back, I guess.
A fellow woolly back, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's St. Helens Formby massive. You know, exactly. Greetings, everyone. Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, it's not so bad. It's all right. You know, well, global pandemic, but all right. Yeah. You know,
I mean, that is literally the preface to every interview you do at the moment. Everybody's got to pay lip service to, you know, the global catastrophe we're in the middle of. You know, to me.
Yeah, but if you take that out of the equation, you know.
Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah,
I mean, writing time, quite laid back.
True.
You know,
it could be worse. You know, there could be problems with the climate as well. You know.
Yeah, my internet could go down.
That would be, exactly. So true. Now we are here to talk about your latest novel, published by Titan Books, in association with CBS and Star Trek, which is the autobiography of KATHRYN Janeway. Now you, of course, are the author of a whole bunch of Star Trek novels like The Lotus Flower and Hollow Man, Never Ending Sacrifice. You had that New York Times bestseller, The Fall, The Crimson Shadow.
That's right.
and you've done a whole ton of Doctor Who as well, which is also a topic that we love here at Forbidden Planet.
Absolutely.
It's all about Star Trek this time. So what can you tell me about the autobiography of KATHRYN Janeway?
Well, these are really fun conceits. I think Titan have done a couple now. They've done Autobiography of Kirk, one of Picard. But Janeway, they thought, you know, think about Janeway, she was a woman. What should we'd better ask a woman. So woman, Star Trek. Well, Kirsten Byers busy inventing Picard. So let's go second to the list. And that was me. And I guess the conceit is that you're kind of, I imagine myself sitting down with, a bit like this actually, sitting down on Zoom with KATHRYN Janeway and going, come on, KATHRYN, give us the dirt. Tell us everything about how it was, how you grew up. What your life was like, what they were really like on Voyager. So that was kind of the fun of it. I imagined that I was sort of interviewing KATHRYN Janeway and hearing her life story and, you know, getting a conversation with her and getting to know her. Of course, it was me sitting in a room writing a first-person narrative, but it was fun to imagine it that way. So the idea of the book is that we look at KATHRYN's life from her birth, which is Bloomington, Indiana. They've just revealed a statue there of her, you know, to be born here. There's one out there. No, great. And then it takes her all the way through her kind of childhood, her family, the academy, her early postings, through what we know on Voyager, and then a little bit beyond, just so we find out what's happened to the people in her life. And she's an admiral by that stage. So yeah, it does what it says on the tin, really. It's an autobiography of KATHRYN Janeway.
and so in your mind's eye, you're essentially sitting down in a drawing room somewhere, speaking to Janeway in later age. Talking
a little bit later,
yeah.
She's sort of come back. She's been back a while. She's an admiral, so she's not very elderly. And I imagine us in her very swanky office at Starfleet Command or whatever. And for some reason, she's let some, you know, scruffy woolly back in to interview.
Yeah. Absolutely, it will be your Northwestern charm, no doubt.
Absolutely, I'm sure she'd had great times at Jester's nightclub in St. Helens once.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
That was why she agreed to me and not somebody else. So yeah, that's the conceit. And I found it really helped to sort of feel like I had her there, I was interviewing her. You know, she was sharing confidences. We were having a bit of fun, maybe a bit of a gossip. Yeah, and then, you know, obviously talking about things like Tuvix and all these sorts of things. So hopefully we touch familiar beats, but there've been previous novels which have kind of covered similar ground, and of course she's had extensive novels written about her that kind of follow up the show. But this is a fresh take. This is kind of my take. So you don't need to have read any of those. You just need to know Voyager, really. So hopefully enjoy it. You know, it's an anniversary of the show. It's good fun.
Yeah, and it's actually, if you're a kind of novel physicality nerd, it's in a beautiful hardback edition as well. It's a really nice package.
Yeah, and a lovely thing that they do with these books is, and we had so much fun with this book, is that we had a fantastic artist, and we came up with these wonderful ideas for pictures, and he did beautiful things. So there's an episode where she meets Michelangelo, and he did a kind of Michelangelo style sketch and did young pictures of her, and it was all just lovely, beautiful sort of center art in the hardback. So I'm just delighted with how it looks. It's a really nice book.
Yeah, it really is. I think it's something to be very proud of. Something we were mentioning before on camera is that you and I have a bunch of mutual friends in the world of Star Trek. And the guy who actually came up with the autobiography concept is John Van Sitters.
Oh, yes.
The mighty JVC. Hello,
the mighty JVC.
Hello. Mate. And he came up with that concept, which we at Titan Books have been able to flesh out beautifully with our amazing authors like yourself. And I'm kind of fascinated in how is the actual process of that essential conceit of taking all of the adventures we've seen of Janeway on television and essentially making that the narrative of her life. How did that actually work from a process point of view as an author?
I think what we want to be really careful with these books, that it doesn't just feel like, and then this episode happened, and then this episode happened, and then this episode happened. So I try to pick out episodes or stories, or come up earlier in her life with events that were kind of thematically interesting. And I guess the thing with Janeway is that obviously Voyager forms this family. It has to form a unit. And she's part boss and part mentor and part mother. I think she's part matriarch. So a lot of this was about her, the way that she nurtured people, the way that she kind of got the best out of Tom Paris or the best out of B'Elanna, the way that she had that kind of prickly but extremely loving in a way relationship with Seven of Nine. And then, of course, the great sort of unresolved relationship with Chakotay, which clearly they're desperate to jump each other, but are kind of being very, well, we can't mix work and pleasure for, however long this is going to take. Yeah. So those were sort of the things that I really wanted to explore, the kind of thematic things of family, of dislocation. It's quite, I think it feels quite contemporary now. We're all not able to see our loved ones or communicate only at range. And they're doing that on Voyager. They're kind of lost and lonely, and then they eventually make this connection, don't they, on the Pathfinder mission? So they're able to communicate a little, but hopefully that sort of plays quite well. So these are the sort of things I wanted to explore, and you've tried to pick episodes that would kind of illuminate that. So maybe pass over a few of the more outre ones. And
right. Okay.
Maybe, but we do go to Tuvix. We do go.
Yes,
there, so.
Excellent. I was going to ask that.
You have to do that one, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. You really do have to do that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read the book. I've just skimmed, So I've got the pleasure of sitting down and digging into it.
Well, I hope you enjoy it.
You know what, mate? Based on your previous work, I'm sure that I will. And you have spent a lot of time in the Star Trek universe, outside of the time you've spent in the Voyager, in the Voyager narrative for this novel. What are your personal favourite eras of Star Trek, and what are your personal favourite Star Trek characters?
Oh, well, that's really easy. It's Garak and Deep Space Nine and Cardassian and all of that. So that's pretty much the kind of vein that the kind of mind that I've worked in. So I was a massive Babylon 5 fan.
Me too. What a great show.
Phenomenal show. Wish I got to do a book for that, book two for that. Which, of course, that meant I wouldn't watch Deep Space Nine. I'm sure you remember in the 90s, it was like Everton, Liverpool, wasn't it?
Absolutely right.
United. You were one or the other. You didn't go anywhere near. And eventually, a mate of mine said, you've really got to watch Deep Space Nine, and he forced Way of the Warrior on me. It's going to be rubbish. It's not Straczynski. I'm about 4 or 5 minutes in. Andrew Robinson walks on screen. Garak wisecracks. There's little hearts in my eyes. Completely lost to this show. And I'm happy to take anything. I'm happy to take Iggy Pop. I'm happy to take Ferengi. I'm happy to take Alan Moraine. I'll sit through all of that. just to get my kind of Garrick and Cardassia hits. So that really is, that's kind of where my heart is. But I was watching Trek. I think, like all of us, I was watching Next Generation when it was kind of landing in Britain, getting it on videotapes from Blockbuster.
Yeah, right on. I remember those days very, very clearly.
Yeah, same sort of thing. Because we didn't have satellite, we weren't posh. So I was watching Next Gen and loving it and reading the books, but and really enjoying it. But it really was Deep Space Nine that I think reeled me in a serious way. So I've sampled pretty much everything, I think. But Deep Space Nine, and then I just like a spaceship.
Yeah, of course. I mean, actually, I suspected that might be your answer, based upon your catalogue. But I think that's a very interesting answer, because, of course, Deep Space Nine among certain Star Trek fans is quite divisive, and it seems to me that it's a bit Marmite-y. Some people really, really love it, and some people are like, oh man, I love Next Gen, but Deep Space Nine did. For me, I always found what I really loved about Deep Space Nine is I'm a big fan of the lead, right? Because the thing is, in addition to science fiction, I really love the PI genre, and he used to play Hawk in Spencer for Hire, and he's just an incredibly cool bloke. So, when they actually cast, he's got the same birthday as me as well, by the way.
Oh, so, you're practically brothers.
Yeah, exactly. I often get mistaken for Avery Brooks. It happens all the time. When I'm walking down the mean streets of West London, or the mean streets of Liverpool.
The mean streets of Crosby.
Yeah, that's right. The Avery Brooks of Crosby. What are you talking about? Yeah, but I think it's got such a great cast, Deep Space Nine. I think.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I was watching the documentary that Ira Stephen Bear made. I was watching it again earlier, and you really bring you've got this phenomenal core cast of Avery Brooks is outstanding, and then you go, oh yeah, and then you've got Nana Visitor and Alexander Siddig and Renee Auberjonois, and then you kind of go, oh yeah, and then there's like 20 odd recurring characters who are just amazing, just Casey Biggs, Andy Robinson, all these people just putting in performance of a lifetime, and that really makes Deep Space Nine for me. The serialization, the depth of story that they're able to get. I think there's a bit where Casey Biggs in the documentary goes, so, I go from a line that's basically firing torpedoes to I call on Cardassians, resist. What a trajectory that is. And that's Deep Space Nine all over, isn't it? It takes a one-line character and makes him a hero of a resistance movement. So, it's great stuff. It's very British as well, kind of a bit darker.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, you touched upon Babylon 5, and of course, some of the energies of Babylon 5. That's exactly what makes Babylon 5 so great. It's really political drama masquerading as an adventure show, and it takes that huge left turn in about halfway through season 2, where it's really about something entirely different from what you thought it was. And
it's about dark forces and powers you can't imagine. I think it turns
welling up beside you.
It turns into a fantasy show. I think. It becomes something mythic.
It's very Arthurian at the end. In fact,
very much so. A lot of Lord of the Rings in there, a lot of Tolkien. Whereas I think DS9 stays as a kind of war drama, political drama. I think, which I love. At the end of the day, my tastes in television were formed in the 1970s watching the BBC, and I think you can't beat 3 people standing in a room just saying dialogue at each other.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's play for today syndrome, isn't it?
Exactly
all that great drama.
Or Coronation Street,
equally great drama. Yeah, for sure.
Bette Lynch, Hilda Ogden, and the what's the name who owns the pub? It's exactly the same as the founder Wayoon and Dubai.
It's well said. And on those immortal words, I think that's a great time to, with that supreme analogy, that's a great time to wrap up this awesome conversation. So I have been talking to the supremely talented and extremely entertaining Una McCormack, Wollybacks of Earth Unite. That's
absolutely
right on. And we're talking about the autobiography of KATHRYN Janeway, Una's new book, which is published on October the 27th in the US, and the 3rd of November in the UK. And it's available for pre-order at the links attached to this interview from Forbidden Planet. And this has been FPTV New Releases. And once again, this has been the mighty Una McCormack. Thanks so much for chatting to us, mate.
My pleasure. Thank you very much indeed. Thank
you. Really great to see you, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Take care. All the best.
Take care. And you.
I should be doing this. Sorry, I'm not getting my Star Trek
Indeed.
right. Yeah, there we go. Take care, mate.